All right, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to deal with this case, just one case on this live stream, because the case is so dramatic. And I want to point out first that this was as close to a ritualistic sacrifice as you could possibly get without actually doing a ritual sacrifice. Blood sacrifice, I mean. Now, I call the bringing of dogs around young people, I refer to that as a sacrifice. They're all having their safety sacrificed by their parents, as well as the lawmakers and everybody involved with the end product of dogs in the community. Even if they're not attacked, they're sacrificed. Their safety is sacrificed. I'm not speaking metaphorically or in parables. I'm speaking literally. Their safety is literally sacrificed. It's irrefutable. If I were to see it and I say, hey, why are y'all sacrificing that young child's, why are you sacrificing their safety? If you sacrifice somebody's safety, you're sacrificing them. If this could end in a fatality, you're sacrificing them. The only difference is that if there is bloodshed, then it is a blood sacrifice. But sometimes after this happens, every now and then, the perpetrators, the people who caused it, get in trouble. They get charged, thrown in jail, whatever. They get punished. And in other cases, nothing is done to anybody. Nothing. And those are the more disrespectful sacrifices. Because no justice at all. Nothing happens to anybody, even though the victim died a slow, painful death. Let me rephrase that. Even though the victim was tortured to death. Okay, now the victim was 6 years old. 6-year-old being tortured to death. That doesn't outrage, that doesn't disturb and infuriate this victim's community. What about the people of his community? But they got acquitted. The mother got acquitted. They let them all off. Now, I'm sure many of you have read about this story already. Okay, this surfaced yesterday. I went over it with the members a few hours ago. They got acquitted. Nothing happens to anybody. This is the only time and only way that a person can be tortured to death and there be nothing done about it. If we as adults torture a 6-year-old to death, even if we didn't have a criminal record and never shown aggressive behavior in the past, don't matter if we have a clean criminal record or whatnot. If I go out and I torture a 6-year-old to death, they're gonna come down on me hard. I'm gonna not only be in prison for a long time, there's probably gonna be some other things done to me while I'm in prison. You understand? I might not survive that prison term. Everybody's after you. As soon as those inmates, and I got family in prison. I've been going back and forth visiting your family in prison. I got family in prison now. So as them inmates hear that you tortured a 6-year-old to death, good luck. Good luck inside them jails and prisons. But if a dog does it, Oh, that was an accident. Oops. But good boy, when the dog does something wrong and is not attacked, oh, good boy, you're such a good boy, you. But as soon as it does something like this, suddenly all of a sudden, it didn't know any better. It was afraid of him. He was feeling anxiety at the moment. The victim probably teased it. Huh? The victim most likely pulled the ear or the tail or tried to steal his toy. This is what they say. Now, how many of y'all remember this story? Quickly refresh your memory. Okay, let's just briefly, I don't want people to be lost when they listen to the update. So this is the original story.
New developments tonight in a tragic story out of southern New Mexico. 9 months after a young boy was mauled to death by several dogs, his mother and grandparents are now facing felony charges. KFOX 14 News at 9's Liana Golden live in the newsroom tonight to explain the charges and tell us why the Doña Ana County...
That is not the original story. Okay? Sorry about that. That was not the original story. I thought it was August 1st, right? Not guilty. Look at this. What is this? Okay, these are the updates. So the original story should be here. Some of you might remember it. They took the boy to his grandparents' house. Grandma and grandpa. Mommy took Avery to his grandparents' house. His grandparents owned 6 dogs. 3 of them was foster mutts that had shown aggressive tendencies in the past. And forget it, y'all. I remember, I don't know why I'm looking for it to play it. I don't need to do that because I've gone over the details of it several times. His mother, who was also, they was about to charge her, she was just acquitted, took him over there. And the dogs killed him. Okay? Okay, let's listen. Let's give this a chance, maybe. But this is about her being acquitted. Found not guilty. Unbelievable. Okay? I'm not even about to look for the original story. I think you all remember it. This is a recent story.
New developments tonight in a tragic story out of southern New Mexico. 9 months after a young boy was mauled to death by several dogs, his mother and grandparents are now facing felony charges. KFOX 14 News at 9's Liana Golden live in the newsroom tonight to explain the charges and tell us why the Doña Ana County Sheriff is answering to criticism from the DA.
6-year-old Avery Jackson-Dunphy was killed in the backyard of his grandparents' house. Today's charges come after the Doña Ana County DA presented this case to a grand jury. And tonight, the Doña Ana County Sheriff, Kim Stewart, is denying claims that her office never sent the case to prosecutors.
Avery, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Hey, you're fine.
Now, this is audio from the actual 911 call. Now, when you listen to the father, listen to what he's saying.
You're good. You're good. That's it. Come on.
The 911 call that started it all back in November 2021. 6-year-old Avery Jackson-Dunphy clinging to life while his grandfather called for help after the boy was attacked by 6 dogs.
Monitor his breathing, and if possible, keep him on his side, okay?
Come on, buddy.
Oh. The operator said, monitor his breathing, and if you can, keep him on his side so he doesn't swallow and choke his blood. These attacks happen so often, they've developed a process.
Oh my God, how far is the ambulance out, man?
Avery died at the hospital that same day from his injuries. Today, prosecutors in Doña Ana County announced 3 felony charges. Danica Jackson, Avery's mother, is charged with child abuse resulting in death. Kevin O.
Child abuse? I don't know why they're charged, because I haven't heard of her doing anything other than bringing him over there. Now, I think it means that that guy there, the owners, I don't understand this. There's a lot of information in this case that's not being revealed for whatever reason. It's kind of confusing.
Owens, his grandfather and grandmother.
Abuse. Was she beating him? What are you talking about, abuse? I didn't read anything about her abusing him, but let's continue.
Leslie Owens are both charged with having announced 3 felony charges. Danica Jackson, Avery's mother, is charged with child abuse resulting in death. Kevin Owens, his grandfather, and grandmother, Leslie Owens, are both charged with having dangerous dogs that resulted in the death of a person. As we previously reported, 3 of the 6
death of a person. Look at how they try to put kid gloves on it. How they try to soften the blow. Death of a person, that can't be as serious of a charge as death of a child. Why isn't that a fixed thing in the law where it's a worse crime if it's a death of a child? Why? Because there's a difference. The adult can fight off an attack. There ain't nothing a 6-year-old, nothing. And they die quicker. Their skull's easier to crush. Bones easier to break. You got laws that they're supposed to always be protected, right? The reckless endangerment laws. How can you throw all that out the window? When he's killed, you say, oh, death of a person. Okay, let's continue.
dogs that were put down after the attack were foster dogs.
3 of the 6 were foster dogs. Let me back that up.
Of a person. As we previously reported, 3 of the 6 dogs that were put down after the attack were foster dogs and had previously shown signs of aggressive behavior.
But that didn't matter. That doesn't matter in the dog lover world. They believe that they can all be rehabilitated, dogs, as long as you just show them love. Feed them, rub on them. That's their logic. Let's continue.
They're already on their way, but we need to know what happened.
I don't know. We came out and he was laying on the ground here. The dogs are back here with him, so I'm thinking a dog attacked him.
With the announcement of the charges came a statement from the Doña Ana County District Attorney Gerald Byers. He says in part, quote, "We asked the Sheriff's Department for their investigation into the child's death. The District Attorney's Office was not notified of the incident by the Sheriff's Office and learned of the child's death through media reports."
I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. It's a nonsensical comment.
Did y'all hear that?
Investigation into the child's of aggressive behavior.
They're already on their way, but we need to know what happened.
I don't know.
With the announcement of the charges came a statement from the Doña Ana County District Attorney Gerald Byers.
From the district attorney. After the attack, a statement from the district attorney.
He says in part, quote, "We asked the Sheriff's Department for their investigation into the child's death. The District Attorney's Office was not notified of the incident by the Sheriff's Office and learned of the child's death through..."
The Sheriff's Office didn't tell them. Why? Again, information is concealed. Things are not being told to not just the public, but to other people within their circles. That's why I say I believe they're concealing information about this case. Like you would do in a sacrifice. Okay?
Media reports.
I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. It's a nonsensical comment.
Doña Ana County Sheriff Kim Stewart disagrees. Stewart saying her office is in constant communication with prosecutors.
I can't even answer it reasonably. It doesn't exist in the way it's being presented. He doesn't learn things through media accounts. And if he and his staff learn things through media accounts, then I guess we have a more serious problem than I ever imagined.
Yeah, you do. And that's what I'm sitting up here explaining. People up here thinking I'm crazy, listening to me saying that y'all concealing information and stuff. Now you just hear a confession. They just confused as I am. It's because y'all concealing stuff. You just lay out what happened in all the details. Nobody asks no questions.
Stewart also raised concerns that these charges are just coming out now when she claims she handed the case over to prosecutors several months ago.
Okay. But there's been an update. The mother, everybody, has been found not guilty. not guilty. This surfaced not even a day ago, I don't think.
Whether she was guilty or not today, by the slim evidence the jury had to look at, doesn't matter. He was not coming back. Avery's gone. He only lives in our memories and our hearts. There is no justice when a child is lost.
The woman accused in the dog-mauling death of her 6-year-old son was found not guilty today.
Yeah, Las Cruces jury acquitting her in that 2021 accident. KFOX 14 News Harrison Parker.
What'd I tell you? What'd I tell you? Have y'all been seeing these comments recently on my channel where people call me like a lunatic? Just keep listening. Keep listening. Everything I say gets confirmed across, the attack stories. Just call that an accident, just right off the rip. No, these dogs did that on purpose, ma'am. And you know what else was done on purpose? Y'all, the owners, grandparents, whoever, everybody, getting off on taking the risk. Basically, bringing a 6-year-old around a killer like, ha ha, look at this. Isn't this neat? Hoo-hoo. Look, it's a killer. And here's a 6-year-old. Will he attack him? Will he not? Huh? And then when there's actually a fatality, oh, I never thought. Now you hear all this nonsense. Here this the mother right here crying. You wasn't crying when you was taking the chance, when you was sacrificing his safety. Oh, you thought it was fun. It boosts your endorphins in your brain, huh? You was getting off like these adult nutters get off. Look at how often and how quick they are to pair kids with dogs. And it's usually with bully breed. They're all over YouTube. Listen, years ago, we went through that phase of online going over these people and these crazy videos and photos where they're pairing kids with bully breeds and other dogs. They get off on taking the risk and then they try to act like, oh, I never thought this would happen. It was an accident. Shut up. Let's continue.
Was in court and has more from those moments when that verdict came down. Harrison?
That's right. Danica Jackson, the mother of Avery Jackson-Dunphy, was acquitted in the abandonment of a child resulting in death today. Now, Avery's passing happened after he visited his grandparents and he was mauled by a family dog. Jackson's acquittal led to some tense moments in court between her supporters and the loved ones of Avery's father. Take a look.
I don't laugh. That's
Patrick Dunphy, Avery's father.
And another thing, I'm not here to sugarcoat nothing. I don't owe nobody no sugarcoating. I'm straightforward because these people ain't. Understand that. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I hate being surrounded by liars and under the rule and rulership of liars, deceivers. That's how I interpret stuff like this. If they're willing to sacrifice their own young, what do you think they're willing to do with me and with all the rest of us? If they don't care about their own offspring, they don't care about nobody. Y'all need to understand the bigger picture here. This is a sign that everybody's in danger. This ain't me putting on no cape for other people's kids. Get that through your head too. Let's continue.
Furious with the jury's verdict and said critical evidence was left out by the judge. He shared his anger with us during a press conference today.
The pattern and practice of Danica continually leaving Avery unsupervised.
No. Did you know? Did you know? That's my question. It's not one or two people who are at fault here. It's all the adults who knew that he was in danger and did nothing about it. In fact, not only did nothing about it, thought it was cute. Why was he brought over there when everybody knew there was 6 bully breeds there? What I just get through telling y'all? They pair dogs with kids. That's part of their culture, is it not? It's an intricate part of their culture. And it's probably the number one thing they cherish and celebrate and showcase the most. A lot of times when they want to adopt out dogs, they'll advertise them by pairing them with kids. Let's continue.
In multiple serious injuries, hospital visits, loss of custody. Danica had to go through a safety plan in order to understand that it was not wise to leave Avery in dangerous situations. If this jury saw...
What was the dangerous situation? The best case, now I'm not responding specifically to him. The best case they have for a dangerous situation is that those 3 dogs had previously shown aggression. Now, whether or not the shelter disclosed that information, let's say they did disclose that information, which they may not have, it wouldn't matter, because everybody in the dog lover world believes that these things can be given what? A second chance. Y'all been giving it a title. That's what the no-kill shelters is about, to give dogs a second chance. And they didn't say the dogs killed anybody. They said shown aggression. That could be anything. So I don't want to hear that. This wasn't no accident. Accidents. Okay, let's continue.
Some of the photos. His neck was ripped out. He had nearly 26 wounds on his back. He was cold, blue on arrival. He was out there for a significant period of time alone.
After he was attacked. Right? I think that's what he's saying. He was out there for a while, alone. After, he said that after he described the injuries. But is that the most important thing? And again, I'm not responding directly to him. I'm just speaking in general about the case. What's even worse that nobody's talking about is that he was tortured. The whole thing about the no-kill or euthanizer, humanely put down, as if the society values and is very conscious of people dying in pain or not. Obviously, we believe the worst way to go is to suffer before death. That don't get talked about, don't get pointed out. So I wanted to point that out. They're not paying any attention to it.
For a significant period of time alone. It's cold, blue on arrival. He was out there for a significant period of time alone.
Dunphy alleged numerous instances of injuries to Avery sustained under Danica's care, including one obtained from a horse.
Under Danica, that's the mother. This is such a crazy, goofy case to me, if you ask me. She's almost on the spotlight, but she's just the mother who brought him over there. The dogs were not illegally there. They legally owned 6 bully breeds. So I just don't get it. Very confusing case, man.
Sustained under Danica's care, including one obtained from a horse that he said led to an eye patch and a lazy eye for Avery. We have yet to confirm these details with...
You hear him say something about a horse? Am I the only one? Did they say something about a horse?
That he said led to an eye patch and of injuries to Avery sustained under Danica's care, including one obtained from a horse that he said led to an eye patch and a lazy eye for...
Oh, Lord. So under the mother's care, it sounded like Avery was kicked in the eye by a horse. Okay, let's continue.
Avery. We have yet to confirm these details with authorities. His stepmom, Joanna Dunphy, also spoke about her pain.
And look at that. Oh, wow. What is that? Is that a fixed part of the wall? Or is that, wait a minute. What is that?
He also
Okay. I'm not y'all see that, right? All right. That's supposed to be Avery? Why? Why not just put his photo up there? People, stop whatever you're doing and think about that. Why not just put his photo there? They put a kid that didn't even look like him. Look at the forehead on this kid. That's not the average looking kid. Why'd they do that? Because they don't want you to connect with them like that. Is that it? No, let me not say that. That's a question. I think that's strange to me. I would have put a photo of him up there. Okay, a silhouette of a kid with wings that don't even look like him. They just wrote his name on there. Okay, let's continue. And I got the window small to sort of minimize the impact. I don't want, and I might still get my comment section disabled. I hope not. Let's continue.
Anna Dunphy also spoke about her pain.
Avery died alone, completely by...
Who's that? His stepmother. Okay. The mother took Avery to her own biological grandparents' home. He's the father, and this is his girlfriend. Okay, and now listen to what she says.
His stepmom, Joanna Dunphy, also spoke about her pain.
Avery died alone, completely by himself. Nobody to hug him and tell him he's okay, and I got you. He was absolutely alone. We have no idea the pain and suffering that he went through other than what we could see from the injuries on his body.
Now, she mentions the pain and suffering. I'm confused by that statement. I just don't know exactly what she was saying when she made that statement. Okay? Words matter. And this is how I interpreted this.
Authorities. His stepmom, Joanna Dunphy, also spoke about her pain.
Avery died alone, completely by himself. Nobody to hug him and tell him he's okay, and I got you. He was absolutely alone. We have no idea the pain and suffering that he went through other than what we could see from the injuries on his body.
Okay, I think that's an acceptable statement. I suspect she's talking about the attack itself. Because again, based on evidence, the worst part about a fatality is if you died in pain, if you were tortured before death. Tortured before death. Okay, and I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that could have been what she was referring to. Because at first, it sounds like she was only referring to the fact that he was not immediately cared for after he was attacked, that he was laying in the ground for a while after he was attacked. And I just don't think that's the most important part of the situation, is the fact that he was not only attacked, but was tortured to death. That's more serious, but let's continue.
Patrick Dunphy said no matter what the jury decided, today wouldn't be enough.
Whether she was guilty or not today, by the slim evidence the jury had to look at, doesn't matter. He was not coming back. Avery's gone. He only lives in our memories and our hearts. There is no justice when a child is lost.
Well, we tried to speak to Danica Jackson.
You know what it is? It seems like in their mind, in the mind of a lot of people in this country, they seem to look at a child death as sort of like an abortion. Like, oh, he wasn't fully developed anyway, so you don't really need to justice. You don't need to charge anybody and nothing like that. That's what it seems like. Why is it so minimized? Isn't it all about what the victim went through? If I were to torture a 6-year-old to death, ain't no way I'm getting off free. You could hang it up. And even if they get me off free, there'll be people waiting outside my home, people paying visits to my home. It's minimized when it's a child death as if their life is not as significant as the life of an adult. When the truth is they're more significant. Their safety comes before ours in a normal world. So I suspect a part of this is that a lot of people sort of look at the death of a 6-year-old. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. He's only 6 anyway, which is crazy to me. Let's continue.
And her family and her attorney, but they declined to speak. Now, Avery's grandfather is still on trial in this case.
Grandfather on trial. So I'm thinking that the dogs were registered, in his name or whatever. They were his dogs or whatever. But he was there with his wife, the grandmother. Ain't nothing happened to nobody. Everybody got off.
And Patrick Dunphy said there are more details to come out. We'll certainly keep you posted.
Yeah, there better be. And that's the first time I've heard that. I didn't even listen to this whole thing, him babbling at the end until just now. Yeah, I know more details coming out. I'm sitting here telling y'all that. Got listeners here on YouTube thinking I'm crazy for saying that. Not good, thank you, Lord. So, this is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. How this type of culture not only exists, but don't face criticism. This culture does not face criticism. They don't face backlash. Even though they're responsible for the death, they don't get punished. How in the world? Listen, this is the ending. This whole case right here is the ending of a dodo video. Ain't that a good way to look at it? When you want to examine the behavior of the adults, those videos are some of the highest viewed videos on YouTube. Nutter videos. So cases like this is literally the end of those videos. So it makes sense to do what? Criticize those videos. Crazy stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Now, I have a theory. Y'all know about my theory. I suspect that real rituals, are embedded into the laws so that people carry out ritualistic practices unknowingly. Because it doesn't matter really, it may not matter how it's done as long as it's done. You get the people, you numb the people to lethal threats. Make them look at the lethal threat as a non-lethal threat, as harmless, loving, gentle. Put baby clothes on. Pretend that they are as harmless and innocent as babies by putting a pacifier in their mouth. Maybe put them in a bassinet. This is their rituals, nutter rituals. And yes, I don't hold back with nutters or nothing. Y'all are engaged in overt ritualistic practices. It's not even subliminal. They babyfy killers that were bred to kill. Huh? Get the population to do that. This helps to numb and make it a priority for them to have the killer around the youngsters, because historically with these cults, it's seen as a more valuable sacrifice. You know, back in the day, they are said to have carried out the sacrifice of the young, seen as more valuable. So, because they're more valuable of a sacrifice, make the pairing of the young with the killer priority. Oh, yes. This is crazy to me. Make it priority and make it look like the dog would never attack the young. In fact, would protect the kid with its life. Then, after the killings start, the maiming start, call them all accidents. Get the dog psychologists to say that the dog lost its mind, blacked out, wasn't itself, was provoked. The kid pulled its tail, teased it, blamed something else other than the dog. Whatever you do, who or whatever you blame, just don't blame the dog. Take all the blame off the dog. That's what they do. The killer, the entity that carries out the sacrifice, never charged. Even after they launch an attack and show aggression, give them a second chance. Understand, many of these dogs that have attacked people get adopted right back out. Some of them that have killed end up in somebody else's home. They try their best, bend over backwards, conceal information to get dogs that have attacked people into other homes. That comes from them being so passionate in their belief that they can be rehabilitated. They just want love. They just want you to understand them, and you have to meet their needs. It's bad training. It's not the dog, it's the owner. Blame the other end of the lead. Oh, this is satanic. This is cultish. So, how many stories like this have we had so far? How many sacrifices, suspected sacrifices, ritualistically, have we had like this so far? Fatalities. More than we can count. Right? Understand, you probably got to quadruple or times that, multiply that by 10 to get the number of victims, young victims, who lived but are permanently disfigured. Those are sacrifices too. Those are blood sacrifices too. Blood sacrifice don't have to end in a fatality. We got all these cases. We have data that shows us the pattern of the killers that they worship. And we found that they are extremely consistent, launching 14,000 attacks on Americans every day. Over half all attack victims under 13. Many of the victims include young people who are not even 1 year old yet, all the way up. Oh, yes. Make your professionals ignore details in attacks on infants. That's why dog trainers and behaviorists, they never try to explain. Every now and then, we had that one who explained why dogs, and he was basically ousted. A lot of dog haters hated him for that article, where he said don't ever bring infants or newborns around dogs. But most of them, they just ignore it. They don't even mention it. If they try to explain why these dogs launch attacks on kids, they always say the kid was doing something to it. Well, what if they're not old enough to do something? What if you're an infant? So we have data that shows us the pattern, the behavior of these things. It shows us how these things function as a whole. And they don't increase restrictions, they reduce restrictions. As the attacks increase, they remove bans, they lift bans, they promote bully breeds even more as the attacks are increasing. This is why I suspect it's a fixed, ritualistic, sacrificial cult. Understand? They were a part of this type of nonsense before America. The Knights Templar worship Baphomet. Baphomet required sacrifices. They've been into this type of sickness for a long time. Wow. So clearly, more attacks today than there's ever been in history. And you have fewer restrictions. People have more freedom than ever as well. In this case, there were 6 bully breeds, which guarantees a fatality if there's an attack. So how long do you think it's going to take? And as always, they do nothing. Everybody was let off. And they're doing this in the interest of dogs. Can't make this up. So this is why I say, listen, this is a mental illness and it's a culture I don't even want to live around. We need dog-free territory, preferably a state. And no, what am I talking about? There need to be dog-free sections of towns, right? Gated off. Build us some gated communities. Got to be carefully constructed with walls. I don't want no part of this sick culture, voluntarily or involuntarily. How can this be a pattern in this country? How can y'all just not say nothing? When you got 7,000 of your young attacked every day, over 1,000 of them need to go to the emergency room every day of the young. Over 2,000 got to go to the emergency room every day. 2,000 people, both kids and adults, every single day. Dogs have established an extremely consistent pattern of launching unprovoked attacks, and still nothing is done. They're saying more. Our leaders are saying, yes, more. Remove this ban too. Oh, more. We've risen since last year. Dog attacks have risen. Oh, great. Let's remove another ban. Let's put out more ads. Let's advertise them even more. So be careful out there, people. Man, what in the world? What matrix, what world have I landed on? This is not the thing I expected. This is not what I expected. Thank goodness there are some sane people in the world. You say you're confused. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Louise said, this is crazy. I was reading that story about Cain and Abel, and I came with the conclusion that God is evil since it demands sacrifices. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a different way to look at it. They say that God created the devil, right? Why? I'm just looking at it as a story. Why? Why create that? Maybe to give people free will, see if they can resist evil, and if they can, that's a stronger spirit. Sort of a way to filter out weak spirits. I guess. There's always been dogs. The occult cartoonists simply replace the dog with a wolf. And they do so many things to babyfy and make dogs look innocent. The way they exchange or use the word pet or animals instead of word dogs in a goofy way. Doing all this, it all amounts to nothing being done to these things when they carry out attacks like this, basically. Right. Charles D. Curry points out how the story of Little Red Riding Hood, that wasn't a wolf. That was an actual dog. Chef Muttmeat did a video on that. It might still be up. Where she broke down the anatomy of dogs compared to wolves. That was a dog in that thing. Cannibalism. Yeah, the wolf ate the grandmother. And this has been going on for a long time. Oh, yes. You know, I feel sorry for people who don't look at this dog culture as a problem. Those are the types of people who could end up getting hurt or getting their family hurt. It just does not make sense to ever minimize anything deadly. People are losing their minds. But listen, we're here. So I can't say that dog culture is not experiencing any pushback. Yes, they are. We're here and we're growing. They're just not paying us any attention, and we don't have influence over even half the population. But I think it's coming. Jupiter says Satan is dog. Man, my goodness. What a coincidence. Dog backwards is God. Don't they treat the dogs? They treat dogs like gods. Don't they? When you're willing to sacrifice yourself, your family, your young, you have to look at them as gods on earth. Gods on earth. They worship these things. Lord, we need a team of psychologists, sociologists on dog culture. It's time to take dog culture into the lab and dissect it. Break it down and ban them. Get them out of here. This is horrible. Now, y'all saw the thumbnail. This might be unusually long. Y'all saw the thumbnail, right? I wrote on the thumbnail, if attack victims could speak. Now, I'm not talking about any specific attack victim. But what do you think they would say if they could speak? If attack victims could speak? If you could get a few words from them from heaven? Right? So the kid is in heaven. If the kid had some questions for his or her parent, what do you think they'd ask him? I think they would ask him like, hey, what happened? Why did the dogs kill me? You told me they were harmless and loving, that they would never hurt me. You taught me to don't be afraid of them. They killed me. What happened? Well, it was sick. Huh? That has to be the first question. Look, if my parents got me killed and I could ask questions from the grave, from heaven, that's what I would ask them. Like, oh, hey, what happened? Why'd the dogs kill me? I thought they wasn't supposed to do that. That's what you told me. I ain't never seen nobody get attacked by a dog. And it's very possible and very likely that this 6-year-old had never seen a dog attack a person or be aggressive towards a person. That's the reality for them, that dogs don't attack ever if they never seen it. Can you imagine how confused they'd be? Like, what? They not only attacked, they killed me. Why'd you lie to me? Why did you lie to me and tell me these things were harmless? What would your parents say? What would you tell them? I'm interested to know that. Why did you teach me that these things were harmless? They killed me. They wouldn't have no answer. These notices wouldn't have no answer. You couldn't say that they're not. They're not dangerous. I'm dead. What you talking about? Not only are they dangerous, they're heartless. I've been knowing these dogs my whole life. I grew up with these dogs. These dogs were in the home before I was born. They killed me. So what happened? I thought they saw me as family. I thought they saw me as family. You lied to me my whole life. Your lie is what got me killed. Would they say that? Your lie got me killed. You fooling and deceiving me got me killed. Those things are not harmless. They don't view me as family. They're deadly. What would you parents say? The parents out there who, dog lovers. You know how y'all live. Got dogs up in the house, running around and treating them like kids, like family, yourself. I'm not going to find myself in that situation where I'm sitting up looking dumb, knowing that my actions cause something like this. You know how many things you got to do? Excuse me. They had to go out to the shelter, sign a whole bunch of papers, augment their home, constantly buying dog food, taking them to the vet. You know how much these people contribute to sacrifice their safety? How many steps, all the things they go through. And I'm pointing them out because at any point during that time, you can reflect on how dangerous this is. It never happens. They never snap out of it. You know what else? I was sitting up last night and I was thinking to myself that people in general, they fall into habits. They fall into certain habits that they just can't snap out of. It might be to look up all the time, to look up left, right all the time. You pay attention. Some people just can't snap out of certain behaviors. These people get locked into nuttery. They have one experience with a dog, and then they just dive into a dog swimming pool. Oh, I can't never live without him. Horrible, man. Horrible. And then, you know what? Forget about speaking from the grave. Forget about that. How about the young people who were attacked and lived and now permanently disfigured? How about, and I believe we're eventually going to hear from them. They can ask the same question. Why'd y'all lie to it? Why'd y'all lie to me? Don't you see me disfigured? Dogs tried to kill me. These are the questions that the attack victims should ask right now. Ask your parents, why'd y'all lie to me? And it wasn't just your parents, it's your neighbors, everybody in the neighborhood. I'm talking about the adults only. All of them complicit. Lawmakers, law enforcers. The victims of these attacks, if you're alive today, you need to ask the adults that question. You as a child, you may be 10, 12, ask them that question. Why'd they sacrifice your safety for dogs? That dehumanizes you. Humanizes the whole population. We need to take a lot of pride in not being dog lovers, man. What a horrible group to be a part of, man. It's horrible. How can you be proud of it? What do you got to brag about? The way your dog look. That's the only thing they got to be proud. They can't even be proud of that, if you ask me. Most of them look hideous. What do you have to brag about? The way it smells? No. Its behavior? No. How safe it is? No. Affectionate it is? No. Dog's not affectionate. There ain't nothing positive about them at all. What's negative about them? They're deadly. Heartless in who they attack. They're the worst, they're the worst type of negative attributes you could possibly think of. Right? Dumb, slobber, splash saliva everywhere, eat excrement, right? Eat everything, obsessed with food. You need a long list. Talk about the negatives. So eventually, these things are going to be banned. All right? They're trying to take us backwards. The rulers of this world are trying to regress humanity. I really want people to understand that. And I think most people do understand it. They're trying to regress it because they're all into this sickness. I personally believe they all worship Aleister Crowley. They view him as a prophet. They view Aleister Crowley as a prophet, and they're trying to usher his vision, make his vision, his dream, a reality. And that's in the Aeon of Horus to, push the culture of Thelema and all this other nonsense. The people, stay safe and stay away from that stuff. Stay away from everything crazy. It's not that hard. I don't know why people are so attracted to the craziest stuff, most dangerous, degrading stuff in society. It's like everybody's becoming more and more degenerate and dumb. Gotta snap out of it. Shout out to everybody able to join me for this live stream, and hope to see you on the next, so we continue this crusade.